What's up, you guys? Thank you to the 3 people who were waiting when I got here. I'm going to go ahead and do a disclaimer. All opinions are my own. Nothing I say is affiliated with YouTube, Google, or anyone else for that matter. Not a medical professional. Nothing I say is intended as health advice. And I'm a law-abiding citizen. Nothing I say is a mission of guilt. How are you guys doing today? I'm just in my usual habitat over here. Forgot my tripod, so you'll have to excuse my raw, gritty, handheld stream here. Sam is on deck, being here for emotional support. And yeah, sun is shining. It's a beautiful day. Sana, good to see you. What do you guys want to talk about? I just want to say also too, like, I'm pretty much open to topics. I'm not really stuck on anything specific. I didn't really come up with anything specifically that I was gonna share today. I just realized it was Wednesday and I want to hold on to our little Wednesday gathering that we've been doing. Which, by the way, happy hump day, everybody. I think it's a well-named day of the week. Oh, I appreciate the company. Hello, Noi. Hello, Noi. Got 7 people here. Welcome to all the silent watchers as well. Jennifer Ann, thank you for joining. So, yeah. Life is good. You guys, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. How old am I? I'm 39 years old. The month's nearly gone. I know, time is just flying by. It's amazing. Asher Gray, by the way, hello, welcome. And Sharami Perry, good to have you. How tall am I? I am 188 centimeters. Since, see, your name is acrylic, so I'm assuming you use centimeters, which, by the way, privet. Yaroslev. Why do I have XXX in my name, if you don't mind me asking? Well, you know, I used to be in the adult film industry, and sadly I didn't have, I don't possess that email, the regular Bruce Venture one, for Google. And so I figured, and I also wasn't lucky enough to get it on TikTok. So I just kind of locked down the Bruce Venture XXX thing across all my platforms. Hopefully someday maybe I can, you know, have enough weight with Google and everything to maybe get the original Bruce Venture one. in which case I'll just rebrand across the board. But you know, I'm just kind of I'm bearing my cross. All three of them, pretty much, is the way I think of it. As much as I would like to drop the XXX from my name and all that, I just I'm bearing my cross. I'm at the beach. I'm chilling over here, California. Welcome, Vivek. By the way, thanks for coming, Michael. Message held for review. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's hidden for a reason. Oh, what did I do? Oh, it's still in an awkward stage. Don't get it twisted. It's got some work to do on it, but Rastaman, just chilling. But yeah, just yeah. This is the underneath is kind of finally the last of the Mohicans. The top's kind of pretty much done, but how's everyone feeling today? Where are you guys at? That's a good question. What's everyone up to? But Sam's just chilling. It's just my homie. He's in homie mode. This is what he does. He's just like keeping an eye. You know? He's like making sure no one's gonna come down that trail. He wants to bark at somebody. Huh. You wanna bark at everything. He loves to bark. Sana says, it is a good XXX. Carry it proudly. You inspired many and healed the warped image. All the nimwhips have contributed to the industry. Well, thank you. I'll take that. I honestly kind of feel that as well. Like, you know, I always think like, at least I can say that I made it better. You know, it's not a perfect, you know, it's got its issues, but it would have been worse without me, for sure. I can say that confidently. How long is my hair? It's just like, it was way longer, but now that it's knotted, it was like past my, it was like about down to here before it started knotting up, but now it's kind of shrinking. It's in shrink mode. And honestly, I had a good time. I had a great time. It's fun. So, there was that as well. Though I also have to say that it was just a totally different era. You know, not to say that I mean, I'm sure people are still having fun in some cases. But it's like changed quite a lot. Astro Gray says, nothing's perfect, but you traversed through the industry when you did, and just on the next step of your personal growth and spiritual path. And that's true. I resonate with that entirely. You know, like the more, at some point in the spiritual path, it feels kind of like you're not on a path at all. It feels like you're just lost in the void. You know, you're just wandering around. You don't really know. You're learning to live in the moment, which when you're first adjusting to that, it kind of feels like the future is uncertain. But, as I've been talking about in the last few streams, I've come to find that if you do reach, I won't even say the end of the path, but if you do close the circle, if you ever find your way out of the void and back to the beginning of the path, is the way I kind of look at it. That all that goes away, whatever that uncertainty is of rebooting your life. Some points you just realize that your mentality is so much improved, so much more stable, so much more just enjoyable to exist. That you just regain the confidence even without having a real plan for the future. Even while staying in the moment, you suddenly become, I guess, just confident in that you will navigate whatever comes your way as best as possible. And not only that, but to know that you will be able to attract what you need without having to, really chase after it. Well, welcome Fly 502. Thanks for staying up late to join on our stream. Looks like we just got a few people here. Maya's here. Good to see you. Looks like maybe we got a little traffic from the tube. We got 27 people here all of a sudden. So welcome everybody that just got here. We're open topic today. We don't have any specific thing. We're pretty much taking questions, or if you just want to share anything about yourself, I'll be happy to get to know some of my people here. If you just want to look at Sam, we can all just admire Sam's amazing face boy. How's that face doing? Oh shit. Whoops, I riled the beast. Oh, that was... Yeah, many puzzle pieces, they eventually come together. And the interesting thing is it's kind of what I was talking about as well when in the video, the spiritual intelligence and the Ida and Pingala unite ones, is when that union happens, it creates like a change in the way that your brain works to where you can actually see all the pieces of the puzzle and understand that they are going to come together and how they're going to come together, versus I feel like normally in life, basically everybody, definitely I'll just speak for myself, but as I observe, I don't feel like other people are really any better off than I was in most cases. But I'll just speak for myself and say that I didn't really have the mental capacity to, work on more than a couple pieces of that puzzle at a time. I was kind of like, I was trying to do the puzzle, but it just wasn't really there. Versus now, I feel like, you know, I got a separate set of eyes for each piece of the puzzle, that I can kind of see them all in a different way, you know. So I guess that also kind of contributes to the whole thing. I don't feel, you know, I kind of can see, not just, you know, I talked a lot about like having these big experiences where I got to see my karma, some of my past lives and things like that, but there's also, you know, like the thing that I'm trying to describe right now is kind of like being able to see like your active karma, basically, like as it's playing out. You know, it's like basically like once you've squashed your karma, you know, you can basically kind of, you have a more manageable data set about what the future is going to hold. Not to say that you're necessarily, I mean, you really never know if you're going to be right until you're right, but it's as I mentioned before, it's kind of like just being able to take in a bigger picture, which basically feels like you're predicting the future, but in reality, you're just in the moment. It's just that your moment is taking in more information than previously. Or I'm just talking about myself, really. But I do believe that this is what is possible for everybody. I just think that it's, you know, requires you to be completely deprogrammed from what society has forced upon you, and to be detoxified from the mental and physical yeah, all that. Sorry, the ocean sounds so nice. Like why am I talking? Zana, I'm so sorry to hear that you're not feeling well. But I'm also glad to hear that the stream is helping. I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm like also like kind of like the ocean is like stealing the show right now. But this dog is also pretty amazing. I love this dog. What, oh boy. Anna, welcome. Ellen, welcome. So you guys want to just say, I'm cool. I'll just don't threaten me with a bad time or with a good time. I'll just go right over here and start meditating and let you guys listen to the ocean. Beauty and Beat says, when do I come to India? That's a good question. I've been trying to do a fundraiser for that purpose, but it's going a little slow, to be honest. But it's definitely still a goal. It would have probably already happened by now if it wasn't for this guy, but it's hard to travel with my little buddy, but we'll see. It's definitely a major goal. Asher says, is me and Sam gonna take a dip in the Big Blue later? Yeah, we're gonna take a dip in the Big Blue sooner. I got my swim trunks on right now. Pretty much as soon as I log off of here, I'm going straight in the ocean. It's that day. Today's that day. It's nice and warm. Oh yeah, you guys, it may potentially help to get more traffic here if you're reacting to stuff and hitting the heart button, but we're not 100% sure about that. We think that it's possible. My dog. Oh. Sam, you're running it, bud. I love that guy. Welcome, Sarah. That's my dog. What's up, pal? You're such a pal, dude. It's my boy. He's mad because he's on a diet right now. That's all right. You know, honestly, I'll tell you as well, too, like, it's not. I mean, I'm sure everyone's probably come to this conclusion by now. If not, then you've probably not been paying that much attention to the streams, but the whole staying in the moment thing, which, by the way, let me reinforce for the bazillionth time, is the key to everything, is way more difficult than it sounds like. And it shouldn't be, but it's just that, you know, it is. Because that's how you've been trained to think, right? Everybody's thinking about the little bit of the past that they can remember. And everybody's trying to predict the future, which they're always wrong about. And nobody's really in the moment, you know. People go for a walk, maybe do some things which in theory are good, but on that walk, how much of the time are they actually taking in everything around them? Or even forget the walk, even just being in your living room, maybe you're surrounded by nothing but ugly stucco walls. Still at the moment, like, how much of that moment are you taking in? Like, how much can you actually feel your own body? Are you in pain? You know, is the question. You know, or do you feel amazing? So, you know, the realization in retrospect is that you have control over that. But you have to learn to manage everything that is available in the moment, which is a lot more than what is available in the future or the past, because those are just small parts of your brain, right? You're referring to your memory, or you're referring to your, you know, I guess, logic, but you could be using your whole brain to be in the moment. So, you know, and the thing is when you first start trying to be in the moment, you're still just trying to use the parts of your brain that you've been trained to allow dominate your psychology, right? But at some point you can adapt, and then, as I mentioned before, again, create some new pathways of communication that are not speech-based, but rather just, you know, pure flowing thought, right? And what can happen in a couple moments of that is basically equal to what some people spend their whole lives trying to do through school and, you know, traditional education methods, you know. So, hey, it's okay. It looks like we finally got some chat going. Let me see what's going on. Anna says, if the past is a memory and the future is a dream, what happens when you fully wake up to the now? Well, kind of like a little bit of both. It's kind of like being in a dream while you're awake. I was actually just, it's funny that it's actually a great question, because I was just thinking about it as I was walking to my location here. I was taking this little, you know, this little trail, right? This is a simple little trail, but I was fully absorbed on the way. That's actually why I was late. I was planning on coming an hour earlier, but I was just kind of like zoned into my walk. And I was just thinking about like how much of a fairy tale it is if you can absorb yourself in the moment to the point that you're like basically an animal. You know, they talk bad about, you know, the human that's like an animal, right? That sounds like an insult, but honestly, if you can just be in the moment, like to the point that you're literally like just like another creature walking through the whatever, it's literally like being in a fairy tale. That's what it feels like to me. Like, it's like I feel like I'm in an endless dream, you know, even when I'm uncomfortable and I'm in like a shitty situation, right? Which happens sometimes in this lifestyle, right? It's like, again, like being in a movie or a fairy tale or something. Not a fairy tale, but like a Mad Max. But it's like, you know, let me tell you, it's even more exciting to do Mad Max like in person. Like 3D Mad Max is awesome. See, the thing is that what happens is you unify with your higher self. It's literally like, you know, you're essentially, you know, I always like think of it as like, I'm wondering if we're like looking at this backwards, because we think about people who are like totally, you know, whatever, caught up in their normal routine, they're fully indoctrinated, and we think of them as like NPCs, right? Like, are they really conscious? Do they really have a soul? But then I realized that it's like, yeah, they do. It's just like, it's way in early development. But when it's later on, like the actual end goal is like to give it up, to just become one with your higher self, to stop being part of all this. And then once you become one with your higher self, you realize what this is. This is a game. That we are just, that you're just an avatar, you know, being remote operated from another dimension. But instead of having all this, you know, weird dialogue in your head about what's going to happen in the future, or this fictional situation that just happened, or the person that just, you know, flipped you off in traffic and you you know, envision this whole exchange that's never going to take place, or just little silly shit like that. Instead of all that, it's replaced with nothing. And it's just you. But you as it's the you that's that's operating this body. It's not you, the you that you in your limited 3D self designed as some kind of mechanism for dealing with loneliness or survival or whatever. You know, once you get rid of that and you connect with the higher, you know, the universal consciousness, you know, you can basically choose from the library of enlightened beings that have ever walked the earth, and instead of having your little whatever inferior little ego self in your mind, you'll have the space to bring in the past consciousnesses of enlightened beings that have already whatever, and you can have that there instead. Do you know what I'm saying? As a teacher, you don't even have to, it doesn't even have to be, you know, forever. It can just be like, oh, like, let's just hang out with, you know, Jesus for the weekend. You know what I'm saying? See what he's got to teach. You know, it can be like that, because you're now walking on the next dimension. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think that you're not hanging out with all your, you know, your homies on the next dimension, watching what we're doing down here, and laughing and playing little games and setting shit up, you know, you're tripping. Like, this is a game, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, part of the game is that the little people don't remember that they don't know that they're being watched, you know what I'm saying? But if you know, gather enough attention on the next dimension, you know, something higher, so, you know, like your higher self might decide to just take the wheels and just be you, in which case your karma is dissolved and you'll stop reincarnating, because you're basically like, now you're something else. Do you know what I'm saying? But don't think that it means that you're going to escape this world. You might never escape, like, because, you know, super secret reasons. So there's that too. But the thing is that you just have to be, you know, it's like you don't really care at that point, because you realize that the whole point of these layers of self is that you can work on multiple things simultaneously. You know what I'm saying? We're not, you know, even the, you know, whole fractalated, you know, universe. That's so that things can work on multiple things, you know, it's simultaneously. So you worrying about what's going on outside of you, what you're doing right now in yourself, being in the moment, be that you're worried about next week at work, or the past that you got cheated on, or whatever, you know, cross that you're carrying with whatever chip you got on your shoulder, right? Or even if that you're like, consider yourself a very spiritual person, you're trying to think about what's going on in the next dimension, and you know, what the angels are doing, what, you know, God and everything else, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even then, like, reel yourself back in, because as much as you should want that, it's not, you know what I'm saying, it's your memory and everything has been, you don't know all that for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to operate better towards the actual thing that you're here to do without knowing that. You know what I'm saying? You just need to be in the moment, and you're being distracted, but it's the name of the game, because, you know what I'm saying, they're training, high quality drone operators. It's supposed to be a little hard to, you know what I'm saying, like, we're trying to connect with something that's, in another dimension. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out how to do that, but that's your higher self's game. So see, here's the big secret. Let me tell you the big secret. And this is the best part. I'm sad to the people that just left and, basically missed the important part. But your higher self wants to connect with you. It's literally their job. You know what I'm saying? Like, you not connecting with them is like kind of like a failure for them in the next dimension. Do you know what I'm saying? So you got to like meet them halfway, kind of a thing, but yeah, you just got to get in the moment. That's really all it is. And have good intention. Like, be virtuous. You know what I'm saying? Because there's something greater, something that's intangible, something, something that's not quite graspable, which, which is watching as well, and it just values. It's interested in the virtuous. There's just layers to the whole thing. It's hard to explain. This is why like the other moral of the story is, aside from staying in the moment, it's like silence. Okay. This is where I'm really struggling myself with the whole streaming thing, is because I'm not doing myself any favors by talking. Do you know what I'm saying? As much as I want to help people, I don't feel that talking is the medium to do it. I feel like, that it's the kind of thing where you got to really show people, but not everybody can just come see Bruce and, get shown the way. So what's the next best thing? Well, the next best thing is to literally, like, get rid of your smartphone and go get a little flip phone that doesn't even have internet, and try to challenge yourself with, as long as possible, stretches of saying 0 words, of not reading anything, things like that. That's like, the kind of super heavy medicine that can make shit happen if spirituality and knowing some kind of truth is really super important to you. You basically anything else is, some kind of long way. And the long way can sometimes get you somewhere, but, you can get lost too. So the direct route is you just become like an animal. It doesn't have to be forever. It just has to be until the change happens. But as someone who actually like got the change to happen, I'll tell you that not only does talking make it kind of get in the way of it happening, but I can validate that once it happens, the connection between your mind and your voice, I'm not going to say that it necessarily like gets worse, but it feels so incredibly slow. Like it feels so cumbersome to talk, to try to put the things that you're thinking into words, that it actually seems like you've gotten worse at talking. But in reality, it's that you're having to basically like down res every fucking thing that you're thinking into something that is, 1% of what you actually have going on in your mind. And that creates, I don't know, some kind of a lost in translation kind of phenomenon. And yeah, and I think that just is proof to what I'm saying in probably showing some type of support on like a scientific level for my theory about new connections being formed in the brain and whatnot that don't get routed through the speech center. So yeah, there's that. Let's go ahead and check the chat. Why is Sam on a diet? Because he's a chunkosaurus. What's up, Chunkanitas? No rotisserie chickens for Sam. No, he gets rotisserie chickens still. It's not really, I don't think, the rotisserie chickens that made him fat. I think it was the beef tallow. He's been eating a lot of, he's been spiking all of his food with tallow. So he got kind of chubbed up, and trying to let him have a little. I think every once in a while a little fast is good for the dog as well. I know it's done wonders for myself. So there's that. Here, Leron says, and by the way, thank you, Anna, for the great question. And, okay, wait, I'm going to go to Leron's next, but Anna actually had a continuation from her question. Says, any tips from the pro on how to stay in the moment? Like, do you think it has something to do with exercising or just a conscious decision? You just, like, the tip, like, the way I do it is I literally just try to reframe my mind as like I'm an animal. I don't know. I've been conditioned to give no fucks through my, life of, doing weird things that require no fucks to be given. But the weird thing is that if it's the irony of the words give no fucks, because once you actually get to 0 fucks, you will give fucks about everything. You give 100% fucks. So it's a really ironic and paradoxical situation, but to practice it, this is what we call, it's the real meaning of the word tantra. Most people just think of like sex as tantra, but there's a bunch of different types of tantras. Tantra means weave, right? So when we think of a tantra, a lot of times it means like doing things, like multiple things simultaneously. Like, of course, maybe this doesn't work in the middle of work or whatever, but like one thing that I've noticed that helps me a lot is that, you know, you need something for all the senses. You know what I'm saying? Something repetitive that you can hear, something that you can smell, you know, maybe even a taste in your mouth, right? Do something with both hands that requires some type of flow or repetition, and do that while walking or something that is activating your feet as well. You know, if you can make it two different things that you're doing with each hand, so that you're operating both different sides of the brain, you know, in a different pattern, that can also work as well. And of course, if we want to get to the more Western sense of the Tantra, you could incorporate sex as well, which can also be something that can, you know, if you add in kissing, you have a lot of nerve endings in your tongue, and that's engaging a certain part of your, you know, you're then engaging your taste, and of course, you know, there's smell involved, and you know, there's sounds involved, and there's plenty to do with your hands, you know, so on and so forth. So, you know, that's kind of what they, you know, why they call that a type of Tantra as well. But it's basically distracting yourself from thinking about it, like making the situation complicated enough that you don't have time to think about the future or the past, and that you're stimulated in a bunch of different ways while being absorbed in the moment, that is lighting up different parts of your brain simultaneously, and kind of trying to force that connection to happen, because that's what we're really going after, right? Is like we're trying to get our brain to optimize in a way that we can actually connect with our operator, which is our higher self. You know what I'm saying? Because you're like, most people are just down here in autopilot mode, and they need to dissolve the self still, right? And then what's the thing is like, you know, once you do that, though, everything else becomes obsolete. So this is why I keep saying is like, the less you know, the better. The less you think, the better, because as soon as you start thinking, like, you know, it's like, it's like, see, I don't want to see, maybe I need to do this. I need to find a medium where I can talk more freely, see. So I can't really actually get too much deeper into this, because I'm going to end up getting myself in trouble with YouTube. There's a guy that I follow that does a Tantra thing, and he got banned from his content got taken down from YouTube. So I don't know if it's actually maybe just like too much topic, but there's a lot there. Maybe it's a topic for a book or something that I'll release. I don't know, but yeah, that's basically the pro tip. And then so back to Leron. It says, how do you deal with loneliness? Do you have any moments of difficulty in this regard? No, not really. I'm honestly like becoming more and more addicted to silence. I'm like to the point where I'm like been withdrawing even deeper than already. Like I've been having a lot of thoughts about potentially like, you know, going deeper into nature, being more disconnected. There's a lot of things that have been, you know, but regarding loneliness, not really. It's not really been a factor. I mean, given my new understanding or my new control of my body, and my understanding of things like the aforementioned stuff like Tantra and things like that, and also the fact that I've been celibate for 10 months now or something. There's a part of me that is kind of curious on it's like almost kind of like I never really expected to even get this far with the whole thing, nor did I even know that this far existed, but now it's happened, and for the most part it's happened without me even using the thing which is basically my original mastery, right? So I suppose there's like a certain temptation there, but even without having tested it out, I can already pretty much confirm in my my inner workings that it's the kind of thing where it's like great power brings great responsibility kind of a thing. Like I can't really even really test that out on a casual basis, because I understand that it's not so much like the energy exchange that I'm now worried about, that it's like basically I know what it could cause, and it's not something that I take lightly. Sam made you jump. Frankie said, if staying in the moment is the key to peace, and then 100 agree with you on that. Could there be moments where dreaming of the future or reflecting on the past is the door to growth? Anything's possible, but I personally, I would say like the time, like not only do I like reprimand myself when I start dreaming of the future, or reflecting on the past, but it's like genuinely like the only time that I actually feel a negative emotion. Not, or any kind of, not, I shouldn't even say emotion, but just like a negative feeling. Like now that I've like centered myself into the present, it's like no matter how big my dream of the future is, it feels limiting. Anything that I think of in the past feels like I'm, anytime I think of the past, I feel like I'm not having gratitude for the moment. And so both of those activities are like, it's just, I consider them toxic. It's like just not a thing. Escape from LA and go on a Mad Max rampage. Yeah, I've been I've been Mad Maxing for some years now, so No, it says, do not regret the past, do not worry about the future, just stay in the moment, enjoy, and grateful for the moment. Exactly, gratitude is the key here. If you have gratitude, you got the world, and then the other thing is people in spiritual realm, and even worse, spiritual industry, which is kind of a comical thing that exists. Everybody wants to be manifestors. Everyone wants to manifest things. And indeed, I will tell you that the manifestation gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and almost to like a freakish level. But if you have any kind of doubts, if you have any kind of insecurities, if you have any kind of weaknesses, if you're thinking about the future or thinking about the past, the last thing you want to do is to be manifesting things. Because you will destroy your life, or you will, even if you don't destroy your life, you will do, as I mentioned earlier, you will limit yourself with your plans, because your plans will come true, but you don't know how exactly it's all going to play out. You don't know what terrible things might take place to make that happen. You don't know what better thing might have happened instead of that. Manifestation can be a curse if you're not 100% healed, yeah, it's just something to take into consideration. So staying in the moment is a good way to also avoid, maybe some of the pitfalls of all that. Because, as much as this could be a fairy tale heaven, or this could be Mad Max, this could also be complete total hell. And in that, manifestation is what dictates all that. Manifestation and karma, right? So, it's just, again, that's why, the whole teaching is not, it's like when we have huge literatures and massive books and all this, interpretation when it comes to spirituality, like what happens in religion, I just personally feel it's the wrong way to go about it, because I see beauty in simplification. As the change has happened inside my mind, so as my understanding of the concept of what like the Chinese call Wu Wei, you know what I'm saying? The effortless action. Because that's just the way that my mind works now, to where I want everything to be as simplified as far as possible, because that doesn't necessarily mean that I want things to not do anything. I want very small amount of energy to go a long way, that's just kind of how I see is like the best way to approach spirituality. Like, you don't need a chaperone between you and your creator. You know what I'm saying? You need to go directly to your creator. And the way you do that is by being exactly what you were made to be. In this moment, in this body, operating it, connected to the realm above. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you were meant to be. You weren't meant to be this, whatever thing that they've turned everyone into here. You know what I'm saying? Nitty says, I keep having weird dreams about the higher dimension. None of it makes sense. Well, this, the thing is, it doesn't make sense because you're trying to make sense of it. You know what I'm saying? If you just adopt, another way of looking at the staying in the moment thing is to be an observer. just look what's going on around. You know what I'm saying? Like, just when you have those kind of dreams and stuff, just observe them. You know, if you can, of course, it's hard to say that when you're dreaming or whatever, but it's like, once you know, it's like when you're lucid dreaming, that is essentially like reality. Do you know what I'm saying? Versus this is, the whole point of it is that it's not, it has all these rules. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more of like a game. It has all these rules in place of how everything is supposed to operate, and makes it harder. You know what I'm saying? Makes it more challenging. That's the whole point of it. It's a game. You know what I mean? If you're, but the but yeah, it's best if, oh yeah, once you're you know, lucid, you're like, you know, getting a taste of what the next dimension is like, right? Once you're learning to lucid dream, well, you can, you know, at the very highest level, you will become lucid in this dimension. Do you know what I'm saying? That's like basically the end goal. And you do that by, you know, knowing. But you can't know without experiencing and seeing. Like, I can't tell you the truth and you know it. If I tell you the truth, you'll believe. You could believe it at best, but you wouldn't know it. You know what I'm saying? The only way to know it is to remove all belief. Everything that you think you know now, get rid of that. Your personality, get rid of that. Everything, get rid of that. Your fears, your hopes, your dreams, your doubts, your past, your nationality, your religion. Like, drop, like, cut all that. Just get to the core, be a blank. When there's nothing to you, there's nothing between you and God. You let God come inside you if you want to know God. You know, but you need space. God will not stand side by side with anything. Right? You gotta clean it all out. It's not gonna stand next to your ego. Once everything is gone from inside you, all your hopes, dreams, whatever, and you actually have truly faith, you know what I'm saying? Then it comes inside. Then you know. And then once you know, then, you know, the game is different. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no longer part of the algorithm to hide everything from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, right now, it's like keeping a pretense. You know what I'm saying? It more or less is developing around you everywhere you go. It's your mind is like creating it with other minds around to create it. That's why if you go out into nature and there's nobody else around, more things are likely to happen, because it doesn't have to adapt to other people's perspectives. Only adapt to your perspective. Well, if you're, you know, have faith and you're totally, you know, open to all things, not to even say that you believe all things, but that you actually have no opinion. You actually are completely open to everything, and there's no one around to fucking say otherwise. All of a sudden, things just happen right in front of your eyes, like, you can't even, like, there leaves no doubt at all. But, you know, if you're coming with your pretenses, you're coming with your hopes, you're coming with your fears, you're coming with your memories, you're coming with all this baggage. What, you think God's got time for that? There's however many billions of people on the planet. There's multiple dimensions. There's an entire universe. There's other planets. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go back to square one. Forget all your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people are, you know what I mean? Like, there's truth in every religion. I see truth in every religion. they have no doubt that each one was the absolute best thing that they had at the time. But it's embarrassing as a species that we're still following instructions that are hundreds of years old at best about how to connect with our Creator, which literally, if we didn't have at least a spark of it inside of us, we wouldn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's silly, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I've kind of, like, even though I ranted on and on and on about the whole process and whatever, in retrospect, seeing how it all went down and how it all happened, it was ultimately very simple things that allowed that to happen for me, which was purification, mind and body, staying in the moment, and knowing absolutely without any doubt that I knew nothing, that I had no fucking clue what this whole thing was about. I had no belief at all. None. I had no belief. But I also didn't have any disbelief. I just, I seen a blunt fall from the sky one day and I said, yep, I have no fucking clue. And then after that point, things started changing. You know what I mean? So that's, what I'm saying? You got to ask yourself, why, what I'm saying? If you actually believe in my experience, if you watched all these 100 hours of me streaming or whatever, and you say, okay, like I actually think that this happened, this porn star somehow became enlightened, it's not like it's just a porn star. I was literally in prison for 4 years. Like, I'm like a very imperfect person. Do you know what I'm saying? But yet it happened for me, right? And you can easily watch all these, and this isn't a brag, but there's people that are considered literally religious leaders. I'm not saying every one of them. There's good ones, but I'm saying there's some that are actual religious leaders out there. People are literally looking to them for instructions on how to follow the multi-hundreds-year-old method of connecting with your Creator, right? But yet they haven't achieved that. They're not enlightened, and it's obvious, right? So you got to ask yourself then, why did it play out like that? What is, the bigger plan? What is it trying to teach the world by allowing something like this to happen? Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's obvious that everything is, playing out exactly like it's supposed to, because it's just too good, right? Like, you could have done it to, whatever could have happened to any priest or whatever, right? And all their followers could have been, yay, whatever. But no, instead it happened to somebody that had porn followers. You know what I'm saying? It happened, the medicine went to the people that needed it most. The people not only that needed it most, but the people who still had, that had, in a lot of cases, still had love inside them. But we're just a little lost, a little distracted by some earthly desires, right? Some worldly things. So why did it happen like that? Well, it's all perfect. You can't deny the perfection of it. But you can definitely ask yourself, where are people going wrong? You know what I'm saying? Because that should be the goal, is that you should be seeking, and like, if you're a spiritual person, like, you should want to be one with your Creator. Being one with your Creator means being one with your higher self, because your higher self is fully connected to that, network of consciousness. So, it's the thing is you can't just skip straight to understand, like I said, there's no way to understand all this with words. no matter how old the words are, or whoever said them. You have to experience it yourself. Well, experiencing it yourself doesn't mean knowing and filling your mind with a bunch of shit. Experiencing it yourself means clearing your mind of all things. So, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Kirk says, where does God or gods come into all this? Well, it just depends on your definition. God is a word. It's not even a name. You know what I'm saying? So, God or gods just depends where up the chain that you want to look. Because there's just so many layers of consciousness, right? But at some point, it is all one. Not only that, but it's still all one at another point above that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like something created something which created everything. Okay? So when I think of God, I think of my creator, which I am part of. I'm absolutely one with it, right? Does that mean that there's not other things that are godlike in comparison to me in this, meat suit? No, there's definitely, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is that we, even at our lowest form, we are all personalities of God, but there's also bigger personalities. There's personalities that have been formed over thousands of lifetimes, or even entire other, universes that have came and went and formed a single, divine entity. Like, this is what it is. It's a training ground for divine personalities. But that's not, that's outside. Like, that's, again, that just goes into distraction. And really, to any time that we're using words always come up short, right? So using a description like God is a limitation, right? Because when we say God, we think of our creator. But if our creator was also created, then what do you call that? Is that then God? You know what I'm saying? What do you worship? Do you worship the thing that created you, or do you worship the thing that created your creator? Do you know what I'm saying? So words always fall short, right? Because there's something that's outside of our understanding, something that is beyond our grasp, something, that created that which created us, right? And so, trying to comprehend all that without having access to that, or even the experiences that happen through the spiritual process to teach you what that's all about, is completely futile. It's completely futile. It's a total fucking waste of time. It actually just puts you farther away from God. You know what I'm saying? To think that you know anything which can be spoken in words is what the Buddhists call Maya. It's an illusion. The only truth is that you know nothing, and you never will know anything other than what you are shown. Do you know what I'm saying? But whatever you can be shown will never, ever, it can't be put into words. Otherwise, somebody would have written the words by now, but they're not. They never will be. Like, the whole point is to clear yourself so that you could have the experiences. Once you have the experiences, you take all things into consideration that you're supposed to from your partitioned self, which has not got access to everything that your higher self has, so that you could make your deductions from this point of view that you came to have. And once that's complete, you can be saved and uploaded to the universal consciousness and become one with your higher self, and you no longer have to operate from that position of not knowing who you are or what you are. But it's just as futile as it is for it to try to know all that. It's just as futile for somebody who does know it to try and tell it. You know what I'm saying? Because not just because it's not going to work to tell you, but it's actually going to, you know, basically make you wrong. Because even if you're telling the truth, but you're telling a truth which can't be put into words, in some way it's like telling a lie, right? It's like telling a mistruth. So it makes your words have less weight. Well, if you want to be a powerful manifester, if you are a healed person that is, you know, can be trusted with that kind of power to co-create with God, then the best thing that you can do is to stop talking and make your words hold as much weight as possible, and to, at very least, be able to think about each word as you mean it, and have a reason and a purpose for those words. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's probably a really complicated way of me saying all that, but let's go back to the chat, because it was a long thing, and we'll just see. We lost a lot of people. So Ghoulish Trainer says, I'm in a bad headspace. I just hopped on because I saw the ocean. I'm so hurt and so broken. I'm not okay. I lost all my family to the pale horse. What do I do? Well, that's tough, Ghoulish, but you just got to surrender. You know, you literally can't, even whatever you did 30 seconds ago, 10 seconds ago, you can never undo that. There's nothing that you can do. And when you're talking about the loss of a family member, it's always easier said than done to say, there's nothing you can do about it, don't think about it. But there's literally nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and if you are willing to subscribe to the idea that we're living in something that is essentially existing to train us and ourselves, and that everyone that we interact with is in some way some type of reflection of ourselves, and that we're part of that, then those family members, and you losing those family members, is supposed to create some type of, you know, knowledge. Because you know, in the next dimension, like, it's like they're sitting side by side. They're sitting with you. You know, you all decided that was going to happen together. So your question here is, how does that lead you to connecting with your higher self? Because that's always their goal. That's what they are training to do, is to operate these bodies remotely, right? And so as a team, they decided somehow that this is supposed to lead to you connecting with your higher self. So how does that happen? Did it lead you here and you seen the ocean and you heard this and gave you a new way to think about it? I don't know. That's like something I just came up with. Maybe that is what happened. But ultimately, you know, when you're going through really hard times, and when those hard times are things which are non-reversible, that you can't literally do nothing about, which is sadly the case with death, the underlying thing is always surrender. And, you know, if you really want to kick it up a notch, this is really difficult, But if you understand the brutality of this world and this dimension, then you can have gratitude for anything that happens, no matter how horrible that it is, because something worse could have always happened. So, you know, you can always have gratitude for everything that didn't happen. Even if everything seems like it's falling apart, just realize it could get worse. Now, that might sound like a negative outlook, but in grasping those two things, surrender and gratitude, no matter how of a roundabout way that you get to it, it can really open up things to happen, which again will be, if they did happen, would be beyond words, and it would only distract you to hear my description of what those kind of things could be. But there's a lot of things, like, for example, in religion, where they tell you, they kind of do the same, you know, they tell you what the thought is, what you're trying to do. They don't actually tell you what the outcome can be if you had managed to do it. And gratitude and surrender, in the same way that love is, which is also a factor when you're talking about family members and losing family members, are super, super, super high vibrational emotions that can cause a major change in you. And again, remember, for our higher selves, to connect with your person here is the ultimate goal, right? And so, you know, the methods in which that they will go to make that happen can sometimes be super extreme. But, you know, they're coming from an immortal standpoint. So it seems harsh to us when we're down here in 3D land, but to them, it's like they're just doing what they got to do, you know, because they didn't make the rules of the game. They're just playing the game, you know. Kirk says, in Hinduism, we believe God is within you, aka your higher self. Exactly. I mean, ultimately, it is you. You just have to erase this fictional version of yourself that you've created to deal with the world, which is basically just like almost like a language model that's attached to your intellectual mind, which is your ego. It says, how Anna deleted something. Oh wait, sorry, they hid it. And it says, but maybe once you reach the 0 fucks to give level, you suddenly give fucks about everything. Staying in the moment prevents you from being anxious in regards to the future or depressed. Well, I don't really know about the depressed part, because there's, like, in my view, like, that's kind of like a construct. You know, like, it feels very real, but you know, it's being depressed or anxious are both simply, or 100%, I mean, not 100, I mean, like, unless something's like actively happening, like if you're like being attacked, or you know, your house is on fire, or you're, you know, starving to death, or you know, maybe you're bleeding, or like you know, you lost a limb or something, in physical pain, like, you know, those are the natural reasons to feel anxiety. or what is described as depression. But, you know, staying in the moment is you being in touch with the reality that what's going on directly around you is what's actually really going on around you. Do you know what I'm saying? And that your emotions are attached to that. You know what I'm saying? As soon as we let our emotions be attached to something that's outside of our senses, that's outside of where we can actually see, like, for example, say your emotions are on politics or world, and not to say that we shouldn't care what's going on in the world, but to say that we don't even know, you know, what's true if we don't see something with our own eyes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like anything can be fake nowadays. You know what I mean? Now, that's just like an addition to the whole thinking about the fear, think about the future, think about the past. But, you know, it's just that there's, you know, and then the other thing too is like addiction. Like, people understate, have a, people tend to think things that they're addicted to are somehow okay. Like, it's hilarious to watch people, you know, explain to you how having one cup of coffee